In the last video, I recapped what I've been up to since graduating college. However, today, certainly what's top of mind is this $2 million house that I'm renovating in Venice, California. In this video, I plan on breaking down the process of securing this opportunity, as well as giving you an in-depth look of what it took to get where we are today. In late 2022, I was raising a fund to deploy in a multifamily asset here in Los Angeles. It was going pretty well. I had about 50% of my capital raised pledged by investors. However, as I was raising capital, interest rates continued to increase, raising the equity required to make a deal happen higher and higher and higher. These interest rates created a very unique and less than ideal real estate market. Because at the time I was raising capital, mortgage rates went from 5% to 6%, then even got into the 7% range. And these crazy high interest rates came after years of historically low interest rates as the Federal Reserve aimed to ignite the economy post-COVID-19. So what that meant is that there were years of owners either taking out mortgages or refinancing at rates in the 4s, 3s, and even 2% range. It got to a point where the vast majority of homeowners were locked into an interest rate lower than what you could get in today's market. And because so many homeowners were locked in, there was no appetite to sell your home when the only option was to pay more in interest. So to recap, here I am in a market with virtually no supply, unwavering demand, and interest rates higher than they've been basically since I've been alive. So I needed a plan. It was at this point where I was living in this house that my friend's family owned. I knew that my living situation was temporary, as I was only taking over my friend's lease until August of 2023, when the family planned to rent the house at market value. Now, the house wasn't in terrible condition, but it was certainly outdated. There were rooms that were blue, mold in the shower, and a lot of rotten wood. So out of curiosity, I started to probe the owner and ask things like, what's your plan for the blue room, as renters will likely be off-put by some of these stark design decisions. At this point, they told me that they planned on doing at least a little bit of work, repairing the things that were in desperate need of maintenance. And this made sense as a bare minimum, but foregoing anything cosmetic really restricts your ability to achieve a significant return on cost. And given the economic environment we were in, there was no better place to put your money than a house that you already owned outright. So, after gathering this information, I formulated my plan. I would put together a pitch comparing a bare minimum renovation to a significant value-add renovation, obviously making a stronger case for the latter. In the pitch, I argued that updating the house, which currently looked like it was from the 70s, if not earlier, would appeal to the new Venice demographic. Without going into too much detail, Venice in recent decades has transformed from a relatively affordable but not the nicest place to live to one of the most desirable pockets of West LA, with beautiful new homes bought by a younger and wealthier demographic. And in turn, the preferred design has changed, and houses that cater to this new design definitely demanded a premium in the market. The pitch went like this. I opened with a hook that highlighted the equity created by renovating the house. Basically, you put this much money in, you get this much money out. Then I went into my qualifications, making the case for why I was the right person to manage the renovation. After that, I showcased inspiration photos of what the market was commanding in terms of design, flipping back and forth between photos of the house now and what the house could look like after the fact. And after that, I analyzed comps in the market, proving the price discrepancy between the old and the new designs. And finally, I concluded with a breakdown of the costs, of course including my fee, which I will reveal in a future video. A few weeks went by and I was still crossing my fingers and awaiting a call. Then, one afternoon, it finally happened. I had just gotten word that I was to be entrusted with renovating this family's prized possession. So, it was off to the races. The first step was assembling the team. The first and most important person that I would need to lock down is the general contractor. For those unfamiliar, the GC is really responsible for taking your dreams and making them a reality by subbing out different trades. Think paint, flooring, lighting, etc. Now, going into this, I heard so many horror stories of GCs quitting in the middle of the job, just doing a lackluster job, or being way too expensive. It was for that reason I knew I didn't want to just find anyone online and roll the dice. As such, I leveraged my network at my day job and asked my colleagues if they had GCs that they would recommend. And as you could imagine, in an office full of real estate professionals, almost everyone had somebody that they either recommended or told me to stay away from. It was through this process that I ended up contacting 4 GCs and had them all bid individually on the project. I won't dwell on the ones that I didn't choose, but I will highlight some of the qualities that led me to choose the GC I did. When walking, this GC actively gave me suggestions on what he thought would look best in addition to my ideas. And this was very appreciated, as obviously this GC has seen more than I have. Additionally, this GC's pricing was in line with the others, which made this decision an absolute no-brainer. Next, I had to find a designer to make sure that all the design choices agreed with one another. And as luck would have it, I have a cousin that's a designer that agreed to help me out with the job. The best part is that this designer had an industry discount, which we would go on to split with her, making her money and saving us money at the same time. So once I had the team together, it was time to finalize the scope and communicate that vision to the GC. Luckily, I had a few months to get my ducks in a row before breaking ground in construction, which I used to make design decisions, completely empty the house for the crew, and put together a construction schedule. The house that you're seeing now is about a month and a half into construction, construction, and I'm super happy to report that my GC has been fast and very easy to work with. We're currently tracking to be done by the end of November, which blows my initial estimate of the end of February of next year completely out of the water. So what that means is that if all goes according to plan, my next monthly video will be me revealing the completed house, so be sure to subscribe for that. And as always, let me know if you have any questions at all about the process, and I'll be sure to address those in next month's video. Peace.